Line lady will be here tomorrow for the President's trial and the State of the Union. We hope you have a good evening. Good night from Washington.
Tomorrow, the President unveils his vision of the future in the State of the Union address. But is Washington too wrapped up with impeachment to make things happen? Watch World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABCnews.com, now a part of the Go Network.
ABC Tonight, an all-new special. Not all the secrets have been told. The world's greatest masters of illusion come together for one spectacular night of magic. Monaco's Princess Stephanie and Baywatch's David Chokachi host the all-new Champions of Magic 3. ABC Tonight, 8/7 Central.
The Chicago area's #1 news with Alan Kraszewski, Kathy Brock, Jerry Taft, and Jim Rose. This is ABC 7 News at 6.
2 women have died from carbon monoxide poisoning. It happened at a home in north suburban Lake Forest.
And tonight, investigators are trying to figure out where those deadly fumes came from. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kathy Brock.
I'm Alan Kraszewski. Those victims were found today at a home on Lawrence Avenue, and a third person is in critical condition tonight. ABC 7's Rob Johnson is in Lake Forest. He has the latest for us. Rob.
Alan, carbon monoxide detectors are not mandatory here in Lake Forest homes, but perhaps if they were, 2 women would be alive tonight, and 1 man wouldn't be clinging to life at Lutheran General Hospital. You see, the house at 1280 Lawrence Avenue didn't have one. Authorities were alerted to the scene at 12:15 this afternoon by a chauffeur who was there to pick up one of the residents.
Our officer located a female lying on a bed on the first floor. He forced entry into the house, and we located 2 female deceased victims and 1 male, approximately 50 years old.
The man's body was found on the 2nd floor, his mother in the stairwell. The house was filled with carbon monoxide fumes, 400 parts per million.
400 parts per million will be life-threatening after 3 hours. It will incapacitate you prior to that, but typically after 3 hours you'll be life-threatened enough that you will not be able to make any competent decisions to save yourself.
Fans were brought in to air the house out. Apparently the house had no CO detector, which are not required in Lake Forest. Investigators not sure if this is foul play or just an unfortunate tragedy, because they've yet to find the source.
We're still investigating all the different sources in the house that can generate CO, such as stoves, ovens, furnaces, hot water heaters, gas-fired dryers, cars, every gambit that will generate CO, carbon monoxide, we're looking at.
Around the neighborhood, disbelief and sadness.
I took the kids out because it was Martin Luther King's birthday, so I took them out for the day, and I was shocked to hear this on the news.
So you heard about it before you came back?
Right. So I was wondering if it would affect our house in any way.
Now that woman's worries are unfounded because the fire investigators tell us the deadly carbon monoxide fumes were confined to the one house. By the way, 2 police officers and 2 firefighters were overcome by the fumes. They are going to be okay. The man, the owner of the house, remains in critical condition tonight. By the way, that second woman, we talked about the mother and we talked about the son. That second woman was apparently a housekeeper or a caretaker of some sort. Live in Lake Forest, Rob Johnson, ABC 7 News. Kathy?
Okay, Rob, thank you. Chicago commuters tonight are still feeling the effects of the blizzard of '99 thanks to all those potholes. They're everywhere. And the state of Illinois, is trying a new approach to the pothole problem right now. At least it is on the Dan Ryan Expressway. Instead of filling those craters, the state is trying to shave them down. ABC 7's Roz Varon is live at Polk Street and the Dan Ryan with more tonight. Roz?
Kathy, anybody who's driven on the expressways or the streets around the city of Chicago knows the pothole problem this year is certainly exceptional, but nowhere is it more apparent than right here on the Dan Ryan. Crews were out throughout the day. They just wrapped up about a half an hour ago at the south end of the Dan Ryan doing that milling and grinding, and then about 9:30 tonight they're going to start doing some more traditional pothole patching on the inbound side and work their way all the way through downtown during those overnight hours, even though it's still going to be a rough ride for quite some time.
The potholes is like a jigsaw puzzle, and it's hard to miss.
It's really bad, but, you know, they're so close together, and it's awful for a person just driving, especially an inexperienced person driving.
So numerous are the Dan Ryan potholes that patching would have a minimal impact. Instead, IDOT crews were out at 4 a.m. grinding down the pavement on the outbound side between 79th and 99th. By taking down about 1.5 inches, it serves as a temporary leveling out until the road can be resurfaced. The last time the south end of the Dan Ryan was resurfaced was in 1990. Authorities say the lifespan for resurfacing is about 7 to 12 years, so the Dan Ryan was about due anyway.
It is an older highway. It's 38 years old. Though resurfaced in 90, it's still 38 years old at its base, and it has heavier traffic, and a lot of that, the volume, a lot of it is trucks.
IDOT will evaluate the repairs over the next several days and see if more milling and grinding on the Dan Ryan is necessary. Eventually, the road will have to be resurfaced. It was scheduled for resurfacing next year. That date will most likely be moved up. If you should damage your car on a Dan Ryan pothole, to file a claim with the state, call the IDOT Claims Department at area code 847-705-4061. The City of Chicago pothole crews are off today for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. They'll be back on duty tomorrow. To file a claim with the city for pothole car damage, call the city clerk's office at 312-744-6870. You'll need 2 estimates of the damage, a photo, and a copy of a police report. Not that we want to inundate you with phone numbers, but because of the pothole situation, we are starting Operation Pothole here at ABC 7 a little early this season. If you'd like to report a pothole to us and we'll help you get it fixed, here's the number to call. It's on your screen, area code 312-899-4298. Now at 4:30, we announced a phone number. That number did have an error in it. We apologize for that. This is the correct number to call. Leave your name, a phone number, and of course the location of the pothole, and we'll do everything we can to try and expedite the fixing of that hole. Live at the Dan Ryan and Polk Street, Roz Varon, ABC 7 News. Alan?
Hey, Roz, thanks for the update and the information, too. Now, elsewhere, there are some other problems on the roads related to the weather today. Wild winds hitting some parts of the Chicago area, and those winds were especially bad along I-57 between Monee and Paxton. They were gusting up to 40 miles an hour, making driving extremely hazardous there. Look at this. The winds blowing across the farm fields, whipping up the snow, carrying it onto the highway, and creating near whiteout conditions. One tow truck driver says that his company had rescued more than 75 vehicles by mid-afternoon.
There's 5 to 10 car pileups. Cars have been hitting each other, just losing control, going into medians.
Just a mess, as you can imagine. Dozens of cars ended up stuck in the snow. Some drivers are saying that the wind simply blew them right off the road. Seemingly, they had no control of their vehicles. Now, I-57 is open at this hour tonight, but you can expect traffic there to be moving very slowly. Kathy.
And Alan, Chicago area homeowners continue to have problems because of the blizzard, even though the bulk of all that snow fell more than 2 weeks ago. But snow buildup and ice on the roofs and in gutters can cause leaks that eventually can lead to ceiling collapses like this one on Chicago's north side. And frozen pipes burst, causing major problems as well. This Lake Forest home suffered $100,000 worth of damage after a family turned the heat down when they went out of town for a couple of days. And in Naperville, it appears that heavy snow caused part of the roof at a bowling alley to collapse. Luckily, no one was injured at the Brunswick-Gala West lanes when the 12 by 38-foot section of a roof gave way above a storage room there. A section of an adjacent concrete wall was knocked down as well. The bowling alley remains closed tonight while engineers decide if that building is structurally sound.
Today is the national holiday honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And here in Chicago, a special breakfast was held to pay tribute to King and his legacy. Politicians, religious leaders, community activists all turned out to honor the slain civil rights leader. Among the messages today that the work of Dr. King remains unfinished, decades after his assassination. Mayor Richard Daley and mayoral candidate Bobby Rush were among those attending that breakfast today. And another special tribute to Dr. King is taking place tonight at Orchestra Hall in Chicago. It will feature the Grammy Award-winning group Sounds of Blackness. ABC 7's John Garcia is there. He has more for you, John.
Alan, the band's actually just finishing up their sound check for that show tonight, and we'll give you a little bit closer look. They sound incredible, don't they? The band incorporates a number of audio clips in the performance from Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, and it is a very powerful performance. Their music celebrates the heritage of African American music, From blues to jazz, rap to African melodies, Sounds of Blackness plays music intended to soothe and uplift the listener. And they say they can think of no better time to play than for Martin Luther King's birthday.
We try to portray the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King through music, brother and sisterhood for all people, equality, and we really are about everybody living together as one.
The 17 members of the group are based in Minnesota, 9 vocalists and 8 musicians. Billy Steele, however, is from Gary, Indiana, and he says Martin Luther King's legacy was very important to him growing up.
Martin Luther King was one of those people who have opened so many doors for me before I was even born, you know what I'm saying? And to this day, I will always fight for the struggle and fight for his legacy.
The lessons taught by Dr. King are also foremost on the minds of business, political, and religious leaders today at the 9th annual Dr. King Breakfast.
Just as Dr. King's focus was public accommodation laws, the end of apartheid in our country and the right to vote, our focus today must be on access to capital for all Americans.
Back live listening to more of Sounds of Blackness. This show actually gets underway at 8 o'clock tonight, and if you have no plans, you still are welcome to come by. There are plenty of tickets still available. From Symphony Hall Live, I'm John Garcia. ABC 7 News, Alan, Kathy, back to you.
Okay, John, thanks. Well, today may be a holiday, but it was a very busy day for the candidates in the race for mayor of Chicago. We're going to have details on that coming up.
And a proposal to change American currency. We'll find out why when we come right back.
Then later on in sports, the Bulls have one last day to try and find a team before the season opener.
There's no one reason to go to Benihana, only countless reasons. To Sandy, Craig, and Patrick, who worked a 60-hour week, a well-deserved business lunch. For David and Beverly, who finished their living room, a show of seasonings. And for Ted, with his game-winning shot, super flying shrimp. For a Sunday family meal, there's always a reason to go to Benihana.
ATA's Resolution Solution Sale. Warm up, cheer up, and leave the cold behind with low sale fares to your favorite sunny destinations. It's just the solution for putting all those wintertime resolutions to rest.
Yeah, on ATA, you're on vacation.
Oh, of course I'll marry you, Roger. Everything about you is just perfect. Well, almost everything.
Go, girl! That's right! Yeah, baby! Yes!
We're gonna be so happy.
The Honda Civic, the car for both of you.
Hon, have you seen the Little Debbie's?
What do you mean, the low-fat Snack Smart Little Debbie's?
Yeah, I was gonna try one. So, are they any good?
Let's see. Well, you're gonna like them.
Oh, yeah?
Any left for Dad?
New cars cost big bucks. If your car runs good, looks bad, get our Mako Supreme Plus deal. A great paint package at half price. Now only $249. Painting your car with Mako Supreme Plus at half price? That's America's smart choice.
Well, it's a holiday today, but in the race for mayor of Chicago, there are no holidays. It's been a busy day for endorsements. Mayor Daley was pleased today to greet 35 religious leaders from a variety of denominations. The ministers are endorsing Daley's re-election bid, and Daley credits his record on education and crime prevention for their support.
They're not endorsing me because of one incident. This is over a 10-year commitment. This is as state's attorney in Cook County. This is as state's senator for 8 years. 8 years as 10 years as state's attorney, and now 10 years as mayor.
And also today, Daley's challenger, Congressman Bobby Rush, was kicking off a citywide walking tour up in Rogers Park. Rush says he's dismayed by Daley's endorsement.
Frankly, the individuals who are endorsing him there this afternoon, let them endorse. I'm out working with the people. I'm walking the streets of Chicago. That's the endorsement that I want.
Well, Election Day for mayor and also for aldermen will be held on February 23rd.
Tonight, White House lawyers are preparing for tomorrow's opening statements in the impeachment trial of President Clinton. At the same time, the president is getting ready to deliver the State of the Union address to Congress and the nation tomorrow night. ABC 7's Andy Shaw will have live reports from Washington on the trial and the State of the Union beginning tomorrow on ABC 7 News at 4:30. Turning now to dollar signs tonight, some embarrassing answers force America Online to take its thesaurus offline. The thesaurus contained offensive words as synonyms for the word homosexual. The reference manual is provided by Merriam-Webster. The company has apologized, saying it has a policy against using offensive words for racial and ethnic groups, a policy that will now be expanded to sexual groups. AOL hopes to have its revised thesaurus back online in a week.
Also in dollar signs tonight, the introduction of that common currency in Europe, the euro, has prompted debate now over whether North America should adopt a similar plan. The Canadian ambassador to the United States says that the U.S., Canada, and Mexico may have to consider this idea if it is indeed successful in Europe. But Commerce Secretary William Daley, the brother of Chicago's mayor, is calling it a very long-term prospect. Now, incidentally, the stock market was closed today in observance of the Martin Luther King Day.
A lot of gusty winds today all over the Chicago area, but the mild temperatures, how long are they going to continue?
Jerry Taft's going to tell us. His forecast is up next.
There's an insurance company where employees volunteer to help whenever disaster strikes. Committed men and women that treat every claim, regardless of scope or nature, with diligence and follow-through. People motivated to serve, not by job description, but by character. If this sounds like a company you want to know more about, call 1-800-24-AMICA. Amica, the people you want around, just in case.
Only the best cars. Celebrate our billion-dollar blowout with 6.9% financing on any used car with approved credit now through January 31st. Relax, it's CarMax.
Give your kitchen or bath a new look with savings from Menards. Get an Elger kitchen or bath sink and get a $10 rebate. Bath sinks start at just $88.96 after $10 rebate. A white toilet is only $49. Intrepid vinyl flooring from Armstrong has a durable, no-wax finish. And 8 new designer patterns, just 65 cents a square foot. Cover more floor for the money with big savings at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
The Texas phone monopoly, SBC, wants to take over Illinois' local phone company, Ameritech. When SBC took over in California, guess what happened? SBC applied to charge $1.10 for every information call. SBC applied to charge as much as $40 each for separate yellow pages. Call 1-888-227-2137 to protect Illinois from the Texas phone monopoly brand.
Gone for a week, came back, and the cold temperatures were gone.
The cold, but it was windy out there, wasn't it, when you were trying to unload your stuff?
Yes, it was.
You saw I-57 today? Whiteout conditions down there?
It's not just 57, 65 over in Indiana had the same problems, and also 55 when it goes to that north-south.
Past Joliet, heading down.
Yeah, because the winds are out of the west, and when you get those west winds and you have a lot of farmland on either side of these interstates where the snow is just sitting there, you really get some blowing and drifting. And we continue with that situation right now because we still have wind gusts to 40 miles an hour in some of the outlying areas, but the winds will be diminishing later on tonight, so this blowing snow advisory for the outlying areas only in effect for early tonight. By the end of the week, although we do keep temperatures well above average, we'll see a lot of temperatures in the 40s through the end of the week, but we do have more rain coming in Thursday and Friday. I always get nervous when it rains in the wintertime because the drains are frozen and the ground is frozen, and you start thinking about, I hate that word, flooding, but after my basement got hit a couple of years ago, I'm always thinking about it. Our temperatures today between 29 and 36. The barometer is rising, the humidity 88%, and of course the main thing is the winds west at 24, gusting to 30 miles an hour. An hour ago they were at 22, gusting to 30, so they're holding about steady. Here's a look at our current temperatures through the Midwest. It's 29 here in Chicago, 27 in Madison, some colder air to the north and west that will be pulling in on these strong west-northwest winds later on tonight. So we will see temperatures drop down near 20 degrees. And tomorrow it'll be in the 30s, but after that in the 40s, because you can see our current reading of 29 here in Chicago, but it does get a little warmer to the west. 32 in Omaha, 51 in Denver, 44 in Salt Lake City. So there's plenty of warm air out to the west, and we'll see some of those 40-degree readings by the end of the week. As far as snow goes, we did have some snow showers today in association with that low to the north of us, but those are being pulled off to the east. We do not expect any more snow tonight. We will see clearing skies later on tonight. You can see the circulation around that low in the northern Great Lakes, pulling a lot of moisture up and down the east coast, so some pretty heavy rains and even some freezing rains in portions of New England. Next system out to the west kind of